it! Get a grip! This stupid video I just showed you! I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show! You donkey! You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State, it's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. That's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. The countdown to spring football continues. We are in football purgatory. We are right in between. And I'm in my head, and I'm thinking of all this Notre Dame stuff. What's the deal with the quarterback? Is the new defensive coordinator going to ruin the defense and burn it down to ashes? How is Notre Dame going to manage this tough front-loaded schedule that lightens up significantly on the back end, but you got to make it to the back end in playoff contention to even get there? I did a Patreon last night that'll come out today all about this quarterback thing. I am in my head. I am in my head with all this stuff. I need football. I need football. And it's always been this time of year you need football. I'm telling you, there's something unique about the season Notre Dame just had and the way that it finished that is making me extra amped up for whatever comes next. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the phenomenon of getting so close and having so much success, but not getting the ultimate payoff. Maybe that's it. But for some reason, there's this feeling in me like I need to see what comes next more than I normally want to see what comes next. And I'm in a weird spot, and I need to see those gold helmets again. I need to see this team back out there running around trying to make up for that Ohio State game. I need to see it, and I want to be it. You know what I mean? Thanks for being here, everybody. Oh, man. This phone call lineup early is something special, so I need to shut up. I'm going to highlight the good chats, and we'll come back to them, and I'm going to put all these people on the air that are waiting. Oh, baby. It's like an all-star lineup here early on the phones. It is. So let me highlight a couple of these chats here. We'll do the introduction, and we'll get going. Oh, man, there's some juicy chats. Question of the day is, what to you will count as a successful 25 Notre Dame season in your opinion? This whole 12-teamer and having 4 games in the playoff and everything, it's throwing a month's worth of football nuance in the mix as far as getting into this tournament and what counts as success or not. And do you look at 25 in a vacuum all alone, or do you look at it as a carryover of next year you need to build and you have a responsibility and obligation to match that? I really want to know, how do you account for, one, if you're on you're going to be on the air, and I'm not going to make you wait a half hour, I promise. Is there any sense in you of like, hey, we got a lot of moving parts here, we're going to have a new quarterback no matter what? Like, is that tempering your expectations on that final record, or the way you're looking at the early part of the year, surviving especially the first 3 weeks? I would love to know. Look at Brandon. I have a suite for the Arkansas game. Ooh, Brandon, look at you, man. Big boy. He was wheeling and dealing like a ticket broker down in Atlanta. Oh, baby. Brandon, you better be back for blue and gold. I'm going to be back Friday, and we got some beers to drink. I'm going to be in town midday Friday, and I got some Miller Lights I got to drink with you, my friend. So it'll be interesting. Good morning to all of you guys, all the regulars. I see it. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Oh, these are some good chats. We'll come back to them. We will come back to them. Thank you, guys. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny Boy out as well. Notifications, anyway, you're alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish Rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, always Irish Andy at gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, who's it going to blame you for that one? How do you think I feel every day I get in the shower and look at the mirror to do my one hair? Call in lines 312-988-15. Dialed up. Tell Uncle Sinus what you've heard and seen. Somebody said I sound nasally. It's a lot better than what I've been. You guys, this hot, cold, hot, cold I've been sick for like 2.5 weeks now. It's not as bad as it was. But, man, when we went from 0 degrees to 50 degrees, like, it just knocks my head right off. It just knocks my head right off the rest of my rusty carcass. I don't know why I'm being goofy today. Somebody told me the other day that I'm too skinny for TV. They said, John, you're too skinny for TV. You gotta beef up in the spring. Maybe I'll try that, you guys. Maybe I'll try get some whey protein or something and work out here in the basement. I'm sick of being a bony jabroni my whole life. Maybe it's time to beef up a little bit. Johnny Boy getting on the juice. What do you think? Can you imagine me with roid rage? Look at me normal. But could you imagine me with roid rage? It would just be the best thing ever. Oh my gosh, John, you need to go to the buffet. Yeah, and I'll eat what? I'm so picky. I go to a buffet, I eat 3 things off the buffet. There's 90 things at every buffet, and Johnny Boy goes for 3 of the most basic things. Give me a piece of bread, a hunk of meat, and a potato or something. Oh, man, it is stress-induced. I lost weight during the season from all the stress of it, and I'll be honest, I'm gaining a few pounds back. I literally did lose weight, like middle of the season on, and then that playoff run, man, I was wound tight. Your boy was eating calories, and they're melting right off from the anxiety and the stress. And I gotta tell you, Jared, good to see you. Chicken tenders and pizza. You can't go wrong, baby. You guys, I just need football. I need Notre Dame football back. I just do. There's something weird about it. There's something weird. John orders from the kids menu. Have you ever seen, there's a Ricky Gervais show where he's like with a little kid and he orders off the kid menu. He tells the waitress, I'm not that hungry. I'm just going to order off the kids plate, the kids menu. And the waitress wouldn't let him order the kids menu because he's an adult. So then he ordered 2 kids meals for his daughter, and then he ate one, and then he was arguing with the waitress. Oh, let's do a couple super chats, and I'm going to go right to the calls. I'm in my mind, and I want to know where you guys are at as far as measuring success moving forward in this whole dynamic and the new quarterback taking into account that early schedule. Let me know what you think. Couple super chats. Let's see them. $5 holler, Dr. John. Like the poltergeist, I'm back. Oh, man, he's back and he's ready for action, folks. Dr. John's always ready for action. $10 holler for the V1 rotate. Expectation is to get a real offense that can score points. The DC is by far the worst coaching hire in modern sports history and will be Freeman's ultimate failure. Well, good morning to you too, V1. You ain't helping the stress level. Son of a buck. Early in 909, son of a buck. Early buck. Brutal. Thanks for the donation. Expectation is get a real offense that could score points. Weren't we like near where we were last year almost? 38, 39 points a game, but it isn't against the right people or what? The DC hire is by far the worst coaching hire in modern sports history. I'm not going that far Here's what I'll say about that, and then we'll get into the chats or the calls. Here's what I'm going to say about that. What I don't like is having uncertainty in an area that I did not have uncertainty in before. Meaning, if Al Golden came back and that whole defensive band was coming back led by Al Golden, I'm not going to have some of the same anxieties that I have now. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to give Ash a chance, but there are red flags on that resume. Goolsby's the one who says, John, this used to be my business, being a college and then a pro football player. And he would say, if you can't coach, you end up being a scout. And this guy ended up being a scout. And if you can't coach, that's where you end up falling down the ladder into being a scout. I'm open to it. There's no reason to crap on Ash before you have to. There's no promise you're going to regress or this defense is going to take 10 steps back. Like, I don't believe any of that's set in stone. However, I have red flags here that have this on my list of worries and things to monitor, and I wouldn't have if it was Al Golden. So that's how but I'm giving it a chance. There's nothing that says this can't work. I'm not counting it as a failure already. I think the guy deserves a chance, and there's reasons Freeman hired him. Callers, I'm coming to you. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. All of you. All-star lineup on the calls. Jay Carr. John, the defense has so much talent compared to the teams we play. It's almost like keep it simple and the talent will take over. I'm open to that. I'm very, very open to that as well. And I've heard a lot of people say, I think we just have the athletes. How much could this guy possibly ruin the defense? I just don't appreciate having to add something onto my worry list. And if you had Al Golden, I wouldn't have it on my list. You would just know Al Golden's proven that defense, whatever it looks like, whatever concerns you have, they're going to end up being okay. It's on my list of worries, and that's just the way it's going to be. Ohio Podcast, been a while. How's everybody doing? What's going on, man? God, I owe you like 4 emails, Eric. I'm so bad with that, dude. I've been meaning to get back to you. I seriously owe you like 4 emails. All right, let's get into these callers. Number 1 up on the list, Dr. John. He's back and he's in action, folks. What's going on, good doc?
Good morning. You know, it's 5 weeks since I talked to you, and it's 5 weeks of no Notre Dame football news. So, anything interesting happened in that time?
Man, yeah, me having a lot of anxiety about Notre Dame football. How about that? Is that something new, Dr. John? No. We're in the mid. First off, it's really good to hear from you, man. I really do hope you're living your best life, and God bless you. I'm glad you were able to get away, break away from football, live your life a little bit, man. Good for you. A lot of people need that. Good for you, man.
I don't know why it affected me so much this time, and of course, then the first thing I see this morning is V1's comment about the DC hire.
Yeah.
Well, I have no idea who it was, but that's just what I was trying to avoid was anything negative. I had enough going on with the loss. So
yeah.
Anyway, one thing I just saw, I think while I was on my sabbatical, you went over 12,000 subscribers. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, man. January was a really, really good month for the channel. Obviously, the whole playoff run, man, it really did help everything. And it was a great way to launch off into the off season. So thank you very, very much. It's Doc. I think you kind of alluded to where I'm at with this. There's something unique about the way last season ended that just makes you feel a unique kind of way this offseason, like being so close, but not getting over the hump. There's just something there that's given everybody a little more juice this offseason to want to see what comes next. And I just think there's something to having that emotional heavy run and then falling just short that is messing with people. And it's messing with me. I admit it.
Yeah, Like I said, I haven't been paying attention to anything Notre Dame football wise. When I haven't checked with you guys at SI, every time the Fighting Irish wire comes up, I just delete it. So what's gotten me back feeling a little more positive has nothing to do with football, but that lacrosse team is doing quite well again.
Yeah, the lacrosse team's doing well. I know the women had a tough loss. I believe it was Sunday, NC State, but they're still a really, really good team. So there's some good Notre Dame sports going on, Doc. It's just I'm on a countdown to spring football. I need to see those gold helmets running around and figure out what we're coming to play with, man. I just need it. I need to see it, and I want to see how they're going to handle this quarterback dynamic. How are they going to go about that competition? I want to see that defense run around. Like, I just need it, man. It can't get here soon enough for me.
Did they get a quarterback through the portal or not?
Nope, they did not. So it's going to be Steve Angeli and Carr and Minchie, and we're going to see how Freeman wants to set that competition up in a few weeks.
Well, good. I feel good about that. Now I'm going to take you to task moaning and groaning about now it's hot, now it's cold, now it's hot, now it's cold.
Yeah.
In the first 17 days of February, we got over 31 inches of snow here in Livingston.
Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Man.
Yeah, so I'm not giving you any sympathy whatsoever with your hot and cold.
Oh, man. I hope, man, you could still fire up that hot tub, right? Just knock some of that snow off the lid and hop right in, baby, and heat yourself up. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, I haven't been in it. You know, that's over at my daughter's next door, and I have not been in it at all this winter. So anyway, I don't have much else on my plate, John.
Yeah, you gotta get you gotta get back. You gotta get your reps back in. It's like the first time you pull those golf clubs out in the spring, you're a little rusty. You got to get your legs back under you.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to Arizona on Monday. I'm going to be down there for about 10 days. Going to play a little golf with my two brothers. So that'll get the juices flowing a little bit, I think.
There you go, man. Good for you.
When are you going to Florida? Are you going to Florida?
Yeah, a couple weeks. My dad's down there now, and then the whole family's going to go. I think it's 3 weeks or something. We're going to go down there, so it'll be nice. I'm looking forward to it. It'll line up with spring. I think it's the week spring ball starts, and I'm sure I'll end up on that patio scaring the golfers, yelling about something.
Well, you enjoy it. I'm going to be in Arizona next Wednesday. I'll see how the spirit's moving me. I love talking to you. I'm so tickled with your success. I just hope it keeps growing and growing for you.
I appreciate that. And before I let you go, thank you for helping me with that project I asked you about. I emailed you about like a month ago. I got everything that I needed, and it's fantastic. So thank you very much for the assist on that project. Thank you.
Oh, you are more than welcome, sir. I will talk to you soon, I hope. Have a great show. Like I said in that one chat, I said, it looks like you have the usual suspects still all gathered around. So enjoy those yahoos.
Oh, man, those are my people, man. The weirder, the better, Doc. You know my style. Those are my people. And I really appreciate you jumping back in. It's so great to hear your voice, man. I'm glad you're still kicking and enjoying yourself out west.
Yeah, I'm still alive and kicking, and I will talk to you soon, bud.
Oh, beautiful. Thanks a lot, man. Means the world to hear from you again. What a great guy. Dr. John Pat, you're on a roll today. Holy crap. The Ohio podcast. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. The Ohio podcast. I'm heading to Orlando tomorrow for work. Going to be there for a week. Looking forward to some nice weather. What are you going to work at Disney World or what, Eric? You win the championship? Are you doing the whole I'm going to Disney World bit or what? I could just see Eric with his little Mickey Mouse ears on going celebrating Ohio State. Good for you, man. I'm going to Disney World. Oh, boy. I don't know what you're talking about, Commander. I have no lag on my side at all. I have my internet thing here. I am not lagging on my side, and I match my voice. Refresh or something. It isn't on my end for once, and I ain't gonna jinx it by saying my internet's perfect. You're asking for trouble. You're asking for a problem. If you're on hold, you're gonna be on the air. Did anybody see Jeremiah Love getting that deal with the jewelry? A bunch of people sent that to me because they're like, he got this huge NIL deal for the jewelry, like with that, what's his name? Johnny Dang, I think. Dang, that's a nice chain. I like it. There was this article about him getting this big NIL deal with this fancy luxury jewelry, or is it Price? I thought it was Love somebody sent me. Is it Price? The price is right on that chain. Whoever it is, a bunch of people sent it to me, and they're like, John, they're stealing your idea. You want to know what real luxury is in a chain piece? Now you're looking at it. But okay, it's Price. That's okay. Now you're looking at it. Look at this. Here, you want to get real fancy? How about this chain? I've had people ask me if the chain's real. Yeah, it's real. I bought it from Spirit Halloween for $6. What do you like? You like it? James Thompson says NIL deal on a casket. I think when we lost to Marshall, I said something about I'm going to do the next show from a casket if this keeps up. And every single time James Thompson is here, there's a comment about a casket. It's like 3 years running, and it's all about that casket. Oh, man. Yeah, Jay Carr, I'm going back to the phones, I promise. It's all about the networking, John. He's connected to Johnny Dang, and you're connected to Mark with glasses. Yeah, I'm gonna take Mark with glasses. Is I gotta tell you, man, he's the best jewelry dealer I know. That's for sure. Oh, man, the Ohio Pod, those stores are awesome. I go in there just to look at all the goofy crap they got. I mean, how many like fake rubber weapons do you need to see? Like how many different versions of a Michael Myers mask could there be? I love that Halloween store, man. They got all those giant, like creepy things you put in your yard that cost like $1,000 now. I love going in there. But I go in there right when it like starts because I don't want a bunch of people in there and kids running around being annoying. But I go in there when it's like right when it opens so I can have the place to myself. Oh, boy. Where is Mark? God bless him. Mark works the night shift, and then he gets home, and he can either go to sleep or he can watch this show. So I don't know. He might be sleeping. God bless him. Fred says, callers, I'm coming to you. Always Irish. How about you doing the Always Irish show in a casket and you're still alive? You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like some WWF type stuff where the Undertaker's in the casket and they think he's gone and then he rises back up. And then didn't they light the casket on fire? I'm pretty sure there was a bit where they lit Kane or the Undertaker on fire or something in the casket. Those were the good old days of WWF. Paul Bear in there. Oh, Undertaker. Those were simpler times, man. Really, really. John is a Spencer gift shop. Do you remember that place? I am 40, and it was a big deal as a teenager to go to the mall and go to Spencer's Gifts and get like a fake thing of poop or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? They had all the weird stuff in there, and you could just go in there and you could buy like fake poop to prank your friends. And I remember they used to have like some inappropriate, intimate things in the back there. And I remember like 13-year-old me being like, oh my God, I know what that is. Like, oh boy. Dude, I've been watching in the offseason. Callers, I'm coming to you. Don't hang up. Don't hang up. the off season. I don't watch TV. Like, I don't have regular TV shows that I'm like watching. I just don't care about anything enough. They have these old documentaries on the Monday Night Wars from like the Attitude Era against NWO and everything at WCW. Man, it is a throwback machine looking at all that old stuff they did. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, I got to blow my nose. Callers, I'm coming back to you. I'm sorry, you guys. Dude, the weather's got to chill out. I can't take, my sinuses are dead, man. It is hot. It is cold. Sometimes I can breathe. Sometimes I can't breathe. I don't care anymore if it's hot or cold. Just stay hot or cold. For Pete's Dragon, give me a break. I'll be right back. If you're on hold, hold on the air. Struggle. I'm back, just like I'm back, just like Dr. John. He's back in the mix. All right. Oh boy, we're bringing up Tim now. We're gonna see what he's got, and then 415. I gotta be honest. Of the off season, I think 415 has been the caller of the off season so far. I can rely on him. He's in here with thoughts every day. I can't wait to hear from him again. Tim, what's going on, buddy? Give me the rundown. What's the deal?
Hey, John, how you doing? Congratulations. I'm glad. Congrats. I'm glad your subscribers have gone up that high.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. It's just little by little. You just stick to it and keep growing. And I have no plans to slow down now. We've come way too far. Thank you very much. Tim, what is on your mind with the other? I want to hear a Notre Dame basketball men's update from you.
Oh, good luck.
And then
which one?
I want to hear an update from you about the status of the Notre Dame men's program. If you want to speak about the women's success and the lacrosse, or give me a fencing review, we could do that before we hit the football. So what do you think?
We'll start with the women. That was a heartbreaking loss, but I think in the long run, it'll be a good thing. We just can't choke it. All we got to do is win the 2 home games and lock up the number 1 seed. The worst we can, because I've already done the math, we can only fall to a 2 in the women's. But I didn't want that long winning streak because then you got a target on your back. Yeah. So I'm hoping North Carolina State did not give a pattern on how to beat Notre Dame, but really didn't. I think you were watching part of it, but that's the other thing. I live and die all these programs. I don't need a mental break. People know if I don't care about each sport, it's time to put me 6 feet under.
Yeah. So your intensity shifts with the seasons then of what Notre Dame sports are in front of you. Yeah.
God, dude, if it's Notre Dame, yeah.
Tim,
I care about all the children the same.
I just can't. I can't. If I did it, I'd be dead, man. There's just no chance to.
Well, but if I didn't have that, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Because I have no purpose.
Yeah. I admire your dedication. I admire your dedication. I'm afraid.
Let's move on to negative.
Oh boy.
I like the coach. I don't want him fired. I didn't realize that if this is true. I don't know if this is fake news or not. But they had to hire him away from Penn State. They gave him, I believe, $4 million a year over a 7-year contract. If that's true, they're not going to eat that. So he's got a good class coming in. So the problem was Bray left the cover. He got lazy. He got like freaking Kelly, and he retired 3 years out, and there was nothing. He had to rebuild his whole roster. And I thought we'd progress a little bit more because, trust me, I followed the program over 50-plus years. We had McLeod, which was a joke, but that is the whole era when Notre Dame didn't care about sports. The AD didn't, the priest didn't, the whole thing. So they wanted to de-emphasize sports. So you have to look at what do you do? Because we all know what the ultimate cash cow is. It's football.
Yeah.
And I've said this. Where do you have to start cutting some men's programs, bottom line, that don't produce revenue? And I can give you a couple. Men's golf, track, swimming, which they shut that down for other reasons. But so when is it, because everything adds up. It's all a bottom line. and the ultimate goal, and we'll go into football in a second, but it is the ultimate goal, and it sounds like the AD, that's what he wants. So if we cut these resources, we can dump them into football. Because the other thing, the new football facilities taking over, like I think the tennis courts or the baseball field, they're taking over part of Indy's campus.
Yeah.
So that's the update on, and I hope he gets it turned around. He seems like a great guy. He's passionate. He cares. I hope he gets it done. Now, all right.
Now wait. Okay, time out. How did you react when? How did you react? Pat saying there's no way you could cut Olympic sports for that like training to anything that could be Olympics. So there's your track, your swimming, or any of that stuff. How did you react?
Why can't you cut it?
I guess because you're training for the Olympics, I guess, would be my guess, is that it leads into the Olympics or something. I don't know. And then do you run into a Title IX thing? How do you pick out what you're going to cut?
No. Whoa. I didn't know. Wait. Wait a minute. No. He didn't say, I said you cannot cancel any women's programs. I said you're canceling the men's.
Yeah. I got, yeah.
You say women's. I said men's.
Yeah. Man, that's tough to even cancel the golf. Let the guys play some golf. Tim, I want to know, how did you react to Shrewsbury's little outburst last week when he hit the microphone? We don't often see that kind of outburst at a podium from a Notre Dame coach. I'm wondering if you liked the intensity or you thought he lost control. I wonder what Notre Dame's PR lady thought. Like, what did you think of that reaction?
I loved it because he was deflecting it off his players and onto him.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what was funny about it, Tim? The next press conference or the next after the next one, he apologized to that specific microphone. It was like ND16 or the logo for the TV thing or whatever, and it made me laugh because he got up there and he's like, I want to apologize to this microphone specifically for what I did to it. I thought that was cute. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, at least he shows passion. It's just like, it's the same thing when now we're going to flip into football. The passion Freeman had, he wasn't lazy. Day one, he got the job. He could have taken his family out to dinner. No, what did he do? He's on a playing recruiting. And God help this fan base if he gets off to an 0-2 start. Because let's face it, let's look where we got to. What he accomplished. Yeah, year 3 is manageable. But do you honestly think, and it's funny you said this about the kicker, what if he hits that kick? It was what, a 27-yard field goal? If that goes through, it's a 5-point game. Anything could have happened.
Yeah. I've thought of that a lot, Tim. That game felt out of reach. Notre Dame comes back, and if you make that chip shot, what you should have made it, you're literally getting a stop and a score away from maybe winning a championship. Even though it felt like for large portions of that game, Notre Dame was getting outmatched. But it wasn't to be, man. It wasn't to be. Notre Dame's just not at that level yet, apparently.
It ties in, but you're 40. I just flipped 58. I'm figuring, grace of God, I hope I get to 70.
I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm a man. I'm 40. Yell at me. I can't.
I'm just trying. That means I only got 12 more of these, maybe. I mean, so they dwindle. Yeah. I mean, excuse me, but I don't know. The quarterback picked the best guy. They're there day in and day out. Excuse me, Gun. They know what they're doing, I would hope. I mean, you can't sit there and you can second guess it all you want. They're getting paid the money they are. They're day in and day out.
Yeah.
And this defense corner, it's not the splashy hire you'd like, but Freeman saw something. So look where Freeman's put us. We went, like you said, in a week we won 2 major things. You put that in the trophy case. He got us that. Within a couple of, and here's the other thing. What if we were injury free? Look at all the guys we lost. You don't think if we had our shutdown corner who would have been what? A top 10 draft pick?
Yeah, and
he may have made that play.
And all those defensive line, the defensive line depth you did not have. Yeah. It's a lot of. So does that make you feel encouraged about what's coming next, or do you have a lot of anxiety about especially the first 2 games we play? Miami on the road, a gap.
Well, look who number 1 is there, boss.
Oh boy, and I know.
You know my love of Miami. We've talked about this.
Yeah. It's Are you gonna go down there for that one, Tim? Get in the mix there?
Oh God, no.
I'd
be dead. Hell no, you lost your mind.
I know, that's why I asked. I don't have any interest in it either.
One of my greatest possessions in my life is sitting behind on a back wall of my basement. I told you I have a Mendy basement. It's this big, they obviously don't make them didn't make it anymore. It's where Terrell bats down the 2-point conversion, and it's signed by Lou Holtz, Pat Terrell, Chris Zorich, and I forget who the other 4 signatures. It's the play that knocked down to seal the 31-30 victory.
Yeah.
People got to realize the hatred for Miami, and it went away because it was getting so violent. They canceled it because it was nuts between the 2 fan bases. Oh, that's what I have to ask you that question. Now we went on to mine. How did you ever get a Catholics versus Converts shirt?
I don't know. You know what? Somebody gave me it at the tailgate last year. It might have been Donnie White. Somebody gave, I think, me and Goolsby each one. I think they came up with like gift bags, and that was in there. You can order them on eBay. They're not the original. They're just reprints. I don't know if
okay, the remix.
Yeah,
okay,
and I don't know if anybody has a trademark or a copyright or whatever. I think it would be a trademark on that phrase or whatever, but you can order them online for like $13 in shipping. Yeah, not an original.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming you've seen that documentary, right?
Oh yeah, it's actually, for as much as I crap on ESPN, that is about as good a work as they could put together, and it's only because they let an outside producer, put the whole show together. Very well done.
Yeah, 95% of the people interviewed, my class knew them all personally.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was exactly well done. The other one you want to see, excuse me, go look up the Reggie Ho one.
Yeah, the old.
Have you seen that one?
The old doctor, isn't he a surgeon now? He's a good guy.
He's a leading heart. He's a leading heart specialist. Yeah,
man, what a smart guy. So Tim, how do you think Notre Dame should and will handle this quarterback dynamic? Do you have any idea? I have no ever living idea how Freeman is going to set this up in the spring to try and be fair, have competition. I have no idea. Is Angeli the default number one because he's been around longer and somebody's got to beat him? Or is it an open competition? Does Freeman call it that? Like, how do you think this is going to go? Because it's just the biggest question of the spring, and I don't know the answer.
I wish I did. I mean, if you like Goolsby said, the guy that fits the offensive coordinator's system the best is the second or third string guy.
Yeah, the one
are you going to go with experience?
The one that nobody ever talks about, and he's falling right through the cracks. Goolsby will always bring up Minchie and say, how come nobody ever talks about the guy? And then he'll say, maybe it's starting to become uncanny to stand out more and to have a more leadership personality and to nudge his way into these conversations. He's the lost man in a lot of ways.
But, okay, the guy that was probably the most talent, had the best arm, would be Carr, but he was banged up all last year. Is he really ready to be thrown into that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's fully healthy now. And it sounds to me, Tim, when I read the tea leaves, a lot of people are hinting to the idea that they think it's Carr's job to lose. That's what the program wants. That's what the coaches want. I don't have information that lends me to that, but a lot of people are speaking and writing and acting as if that's going to be the default plan, whether they admit it or not, is that it's Carr's job to lose. But I'm not sure about that. I haven't heard anything like that.
Well, I mean, if they want to just put the best guy to give us the best chance to win. I don't really care who gets it. I mean, and I would think, why wouldn't they want that? Their jobs are on the line indirectly.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I don't know what they're going to do, man. And you could argue maybe the best thing for the program overall would be one of the younger guys to show that they're a leader and clearly rise to the head of the class. A lot of people are saying it's Angeli's job to lose or whatever. I just think it'd be a red flag if you don't have one of those younger guys that shows enough upside that they could beat out Angeli. And I'm not trying to disrespect Angeli. I just think his athletic physical ceiling is lower than the other guys in the room. And I would hope one of them would step up. But I don't know. If it's Angeli that's the most reliable, you got to go with it. I don't know. Pat, it's a red Pat, it's a red flag because Angeli's older, been around longer, and is physically limited. If you get one of the younger guys that flashes, I think that's a better sign of the future than if you default go with the most physically limited guy just because he's been around longer. That's my thing. He's a 4-year guy, but he hasn't been a starter. So I don't know. What do I know? I don't know.
Maybe he's going to take a step back.
Like, I don't know, man. I want to think one of these younger guys will rise to the occasion and just pass the class. So I don't know.
You know the ironic thing? I know you were too young, but in '93, because Holtz was so sold on Palace, and he was gonna win 3 Heisman's. If you've ever heard that.
So was Bino Cook,
and I don't wish
Bino Cook was also good. God,
I don't wish injury on anybody.
God bless the old boy.
But the best thing, Notre Dame would have never gone on that run if Kevin McDougal didn't start. So, I don't want to injury on anybody, but I'm just saying maybe it comes from a backup. I mean, it'll break which way they're going to go, I would think, but maybe you run it through the fall. I've seen some podcasts where they say they think it's going to be Angeli, and whether that's true, whether it's not, they're there day in and day out. Why wouldn't you play the best player unless you're worried about somebody leaving? But I mean, it's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah,
because I don't have to.
How do you handle that, Tim?
Saw that, but
how do you handle that?
We're not going to buy a team.
How do you handle that when you have these younger guys that are itching to play? And if you really feel like Angeli's experience and decision-making gives you the best opportunity to win those early season games, do you have if you're the staff, do you have to account for the worry that if the other younger guys don't feel like they're getting a fair shake, they might just hit that portal right after spring ball ends, and then you're in a totally different dynamic, and then you're stuck because you have an older guy that's a starter that isn't going to be there forever, and then the younger guys that were going to succeed them would be gone. So I don't know how you calculate all that out if you're Freeman and try and placate so that you don't lose a couple of these guys. I don't know. I agree, and he earns every dollar he gets paid because it's apples and oranges what it used to be. You just had to recruit and coach. Yeah. Now you've got to do all these other dynamics. Yeah. You gotta entertain entourages. You gotta throw money at people. You gotta negotiate. And you know what else, Tim? I always bring 415. I'm coming to you. I always bring this up. It's not only like the NIL when you want to go in the portal, or like a lot of schools will throw NIL money at a freshman coming in off a recruiting class. A lot of Notre Dame's NIL money has gone to keep guys from going to the league or leaving. You don't hear a word about that, but there's a lot of negotiations that go on just to keep the guys that could leave, to get them to stay. It's a wild, wild world. Well, congrats again. I'll let you go and get the other cars. If you're free tomorrow night, 7:00 your time, we play Florida State. Hopefully the women can rebound off the tough loss. Thanks for taking a call, John. All the best. Have a good one, buddy. Take care, Tim. Man, every time something bad happens in Notre Dame sports, I open my phone and Tim's texting me paragraphs. Anytime anything bad happens, he texts me like these paragraphs. It'll just be really like cryptic. He'll just be like, very depressed, basketball bad. Like, it'll just be like these basic sentences of misery. He'll just be like, men's basketball bad, depressed. And it's just like, God love him, man. I just couldn't, I don't have it in me to live and die with all the sports that way, or it would just be, there wouldn't be much living. It'd just be on the dying side. Mikey Pauls to meet 415. You're next up. All-star caller of the offseason. To me, picking Angeli as the equivalent of playing not to lose, and picking Carr is playing to win. Tim and Tom sound a lot alike. A lot of people have said that before. here's something I think about with this specific dynamic. Here's my thought on it. Everybody says, or most people say, I'm willing to go along with a younger, inexperienced quarterback that has high physical upside gifts and in-house and like get this going. And like a lot of people will say, and I've said, I'm totally open to that of like, give me a young guy. Give me a young guy with high upside. We'll go along for the learning curve. There's going to be some ups and some downs when you have a guy like that. And you're just going to have to ride it out. And then you're going to be in a better place with a team that could develop around a young quarterback for a few years, build a rhythm, build a camaraderie and all this crap. You know what I'm talking about? All of that. It's easy for a guy like me to say, I'm willing to go for that ride if a younger guy like Carr wins his job, but he has that inexperience and he's going to miss some reads or throw the ball to the other team, like all that rookie quarterback stuff that's going to happen. It's easy for me to say that till you throw the ball to Miami a couple times at their place, and then it's going to be a lot harder to take that. Right? Like everybody's in theory, I'm willing to go along for the learning journey here with the younger quarterback with high upside until some of them rookie mistakes happen and we're all pissed off. And you feel like you need to make the playoff again, and you have that inconsistency, and it's so frustrating. And it's like, oh, I didn't see that linebacker in coverage. Bam, interception. You're gonna be mad, but like, so it's easy to say I'm willing to go along for the ride until something stupid happens, and then you're mad, and then you're not as open to going along for the ride. So like that's how I'm looking at it, man. I don't know about that journey. And so let's see. Pat had something here, and then I'm going back to the calls. Where is it, Pat? I lost it like my mind. 415. Good morning, fine sir.
Good morning, John. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm doing very, very well. It's another day in Notre Dame purgatory. We're right in the middle. We're right in between. I can't wait to see what comes next with this program. And you're going to have a lot of interesting storylines in the spring. What's on your mind?
Well, I was thinking a lot about the offense and a lot about how we're going to gel and how we're going to be moving forward and kind of like what are the pieces that we need in order to be successful. Because I think while there's a lot more questions about the defensive side as far as the leadership and the new DC coming in and how that's going to work its way into the system. On the other side with the offense, it's kind of the flip of we have that offensive coordinator position established, but now it's more of the offensive coordinator on the field with the quarterback. And so with that, how are we going to be successful with no matter who it is, whether it's Carr, Minchie, and Jelly, it doesn't matter who that is getting put in there, what is going to make them successful. And we already have a couple of things established, like the offensive line. Hey, this is going to be good. This will be the bulldozer type of offensive line that we need in order to move people around and establish a pocket for the quarterback, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, you also, go ahead.
That is the number one thing that is going to help whoever this quarterback is, specifically if it's one of the younger gentlemen, will be that offensive line being good right away. And Goolsby and I talked about this on the Monday night show on Patreon. He's confident that this offensive line could be really massive and get pretty dominant pretty early. They should have the ability to build out a really good offensive line. And that is the number one thing that could help this quarterback in that chaotic week one game you're going to have, aside from obviously the defense being what we're used to them being. But on offense, if you can move that pile, it'll help whoever the play call quarterback is.
Completely agree. And, and then it kind of boils down to the other positions, like obviously we talk about it year in and year out. When are we going to get this perennial wide receiver? And, we think about the Will Fullers. We think about the Golden Tates. We think about the Tim Browns back in the day. And I don't know if we're necessarily going to get that type of caliber person right now. But what maybe we can do is get it by committee. And what I mean by that is you get the production from what that one elite wide receiver would be through a couple of them.
Yeah.
And then maybe that might even be more successful later on, You
know what it interests me a lot? The other night, Gouldsby texts me really late at night is when we do a lot of our thinking, like 12, 1 o'clock. We're both night owls, and he's texting me. And he just said, John, I honestly think our skill talent is going to be really, really good this year. And then we did the Monday Night Live show, and I asked him to explain on that. And he's like, I honestly feel like the wide receiver thing might take a turn. And you know who he compared Malachi Fields' body type and skill set with that hit me as a Chicago area guy? Brandon Marshall. You remember Brandon Marshall played for the Bears with Jake Cutler for a while?
Yes.
And Gouldsby kept saying, for some reason, when I look at that guy's body and look at him move, he reminds me of a Brandon Marshall type where and he believes that this may be the year where that skill talent takes a turn in those receivers. And you know what else? Greathouse really came on late last year. And then into the playoff, Greathouse really stood out. Maybe he's turned a corner. You know what you're going to get out of Faison being wiggly and just finding a way to help the team and get down the field. Like, can Cam Williams get in the mix? I don't want to forget about Cam Williams' athleticism. He needed a year to get situated in college and everything. I don't want to forget about him either.
Yes, absolutely. And then that's why I'm saying it's going to be by committee, because in order to hit those 1,500 yards, 2,000 yards, type of collective of 2 years within a wide receiver's tenure here at Notre Dame, it will be always being directed towards that one receiver. And sometimes you don't need to have that Jerry Rice, because the Jerry Rice will need to have the John Taylor, the other wide receivers that are there that are taking the focus away from the defensive backs. So you might have that one explosive or that one absolute number one go-to wide receiver, but you need those other guys there so that they're not doubling up and covering out that one wide receiver and then leaving you with nothing else. So that's why I think it should be by committee.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to bring up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. It's all you.
I was going to say the other one I was looking at was the running backs. And I think we have the absolute perfect formula of a running back type style for this era in college football. And what I mean by that is the first, however many years ago it was when there was 9 or 10 games in a season, and then there was 11 and then 12, right? And now we're getting into, how many games did we play last year? 14, 15. I mean, it just keeps going and going, right?
Wasn't it 16? Wasn't it 16 by the end?
Yeah, I think it was 15.
Jeez.
So if you make it to the championship, if you get in the playoffs and you get to the championship, you're playing an NFL schedule almost. And so with that, again, remember that these are kids, right? 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Their bodies are still growing. They're still trying to get used to this type of schedule. That having running back by committee, as again, with, you have your leader in Love, but then you have these other guys in Price and Williams and whoever else is coming through the mix. You need that in order to have that longevity, in order to be able to withstand all the punishment from taking on all those games throughout the season. Because if you just go with that old school Ricky Williams, here's a bell cow, let him rip it home, by the time you get to the playoffs, that guy is going to be broke off, unless he's just a specimen.
Yeah, and there's a debate about that.
Of them are.
There is a debate on that about what is the right usage of Jeremiah Love if you know that he is your number one most talented athlete, on that side of the ball, and I believe he is, as far as a raw athlete freak. What is the right balance of wanting to give that guy as many opportunities to break a game open as possible without wearing the guy down to where he gets nagging injuries or whatever, and then you're not getting out of him what you want to get? I don't know where that line is, but what I'm excited for is this new running backs coach did a marvelous job of navigating multiple backs at Penn State, and he did a great job playing off each other with those two backs. And I really want to see how he looks at this room and what he wants to do.
Definitely. So I think when I look at it, and then of course the other side of it would be the tight ends. We got so used to the Michael Mayer and that type of physicality and size and strength within the tight end position. And now we need to see who that next person is.
Yeah. Well,
and we've got kind of hit with the injury bug and whatnot in the last year.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say, man. It was abundantly clear to me, watching Evans and Raridan run around. Neither of them was near full strength and comfort with their cuts and their moves for most of the year. Later in the year, I felt like they both came around. But it was very, very clear to me they were both coming off severe lower body injuries. A healthy Eli Raridan is a big-time weapon. Big-time weapon.
Totally. Exactly. So you put all those things together, and kind of tying it into with your question of like, what are the expectations for Notre Dame this year? The expectations for me are this. It's very simple. Continue to progress at all facets of the program, from the general manager to the coaching staff, all the way down through the players and the recruiting and the transfer portal. They all need to progress and keep enhancing themselves and getting better and better. With that being said, I think there is another expectation that could be there, which is, yes, we expect to get back to the playoffs, but do we expect it to be necessarily a perennial offense that is lighting it up this year? And I'm going to hold my reservation back a little bit of saying, like, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to expect them to be lighting it up, only because of the quarterback position. And that's where this coaching staff is going to make that decision. And I think I heard in the chat that they were talking about, hey, you could go ahead and you could put Angeli in, but you know what you're getting. But at the same time, if you put in Card, there's going to be those growing pains. There's going to be those learning curves. But in the long run, moving forward, going into the next year, right, that he's going to progress even further. And then the team would be even in a better position next year. So it's kind of hard to say that because we want it now. We want to get back to the championship. We want to win right now. And so we want to go and put forth our best efforts. And of course we will, but with the expectation that you're putting in a young kid, man, and he could light it up and he could be that, Dan Marino, John Elway type of style in college. And you're just like, holy smokes. Or you could be trying to learn on the go and have these issues that might pop up in week 1 or 2.
But man, dude, I know how this fan base is, and I know how I am too. In theory, in the offseason, I sit here and go, I would love it if that Carr or Minshew won the job, and I'm willing to go along with the learning curve with the younger guy and be patient and all that, till you throw a couple picks to Miami's little linebackers that jump into cover in your throwing lane, and then everybody's mad, right? And so I genuinely wonder what the patience level would be if one of the younger guys gets it and you got to go through those growing pains. You feel the pressure to make the playoff again, but there's going to be some rookie mistakes. I wonder what that looks like. And the best case would be that happens. You have some rough learning patches, but you're able to get through and have a successful year anyways. Isn't that like even if you went 10-2, it can make the playoff, but you have Carr and it's his first year and you're able to do that? I think that would be an acceptable outcome. Given those dynamics, you don't have a fifth-year quarterback with all the experience and you expect his mistakes to be out of the way. If you could do that, I think that's a productive year, man. Maybe you go 10-2. There's some mistakes made, but you have an energetic young quarterback that's the leader. I could live with that, but you got to make that playoff again.
Totally agree.
You got to make that playoff again, damn it. You need it. You need it. You can't do it. You can't do what we did and then regress out of it. You can't do it. It can't be.
Completely. 10-2 gets us in, man. 10-2 gets us in. And that's where if you're looking at it scheduling wise and you're looking at it record wise, 10-2, that I would expect that with everything that we have around this young person, whoever's coming in to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
10-2, I can expect that. But if you start going 9-3, 8-4, something else is going on, I'll tell you that the fan base is going to be lit up because we know what we have there. We know all the other pieces that we have on the table, and they're ready to win now. So that's what makes it tough.
Yeah.
Johnny, I hate to cut you off, boss, but I got to go because I got to get the kids to school. I love talking with you, my man. And I can't wait to listen to the show later on.
Oh, man. Hey, God bless you, man. You've been the all-star caller of the offseason so far. Get those kids off to school, man. Thanks for touching base, as always.
Yes, sir. You take care, my man.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. Oh, man, that guy's a good caller. That's it. That guy's a good caller. What are we even arguing about? I'm not able to pay close enough attention. I don't even know what we're arguing about. My regular people here arguing back and forth. What's the deal? Pat and WPP, man, going back and forth. 312-900-8815. Anybody wants to dial it up, feel free. Feel free. Literally nothing. Yeah, welcome to the offseason. Oh, man. And here's the other thing, too. I think 10-2 Notre Dame's in the 12-game playoff. I think a 10-2 is Notre Dame is in. 9-3, I think you're out with this schedule and whatever. And you can't go 9-3 with Angeli. Even though he is a first-year starter, he is older and been around forever. If you had a nightmare 9-3 and missed a playoff, that better include a young quarterback. A young quarterback. That's the only way anybody's going to be open to that kind of regression is it's got to be a younger guy. It can't be Angeli, the older guy with the experience and the better decision maker, and then you go 9-3 and miss the playoff with that guy. It can't be that. It would have to be with a younger guy, and you're willing to go along for the ride with those early young mistakes. 10 seconds. I'll be back. Can't we all just agree to not get along? Oh, dude, the Arby's thing is so real, Pat. You are right. 9-3 is unacceptable regardless of the QB. Hey, man, I'm with you, but I'm telling you, it gets dangerous. Get a handkerchief, John, like the old timers have in their pockets. Dude, one of my grandpas was that guy. Like an 80-year-old guy, and he literally had the old style handkerchief always on him, and you would just like blow your nose in it and then put it right back in your pocket for later. I remember being a little kid like, what the hell, man? You just blow your schnoz in there and then you just put it right back in your pocket, Grandpa. Like, okay. I mean, unbelievable. Dude, that Arby's thing, man, when I was in college, 5 for $5. You could get yourself 3 beef and cheddars, get yourself a fry, get yourself a shake. That's like 3 meals for me, and it was $5. It'd be $50 now. It would literally be like $50 now, man, to go get it. And Arby's, the quality of food isn't even that good at Arby's. That beef ain't that great. Man. This inflation on a lot of things, I understand, and I'm willing to go for the ride on. But the fast food inflation is a problem, man. The fast food inflation is a problem because you're getting less portions with crappier ingredients for more money. You lose all the way around. There is all of this fast food crap, man. Smaller portions, crappier quality food for double the price. Unbelievable. Nobody should eat fast food. Sorry. Oh, Tex ND's out there. What are you doing? Raising your own cattle in your backyard in Texas? And you don't need, you just got to, you one of them guys that's like, you're one of those guys that's like, oh, I got a half a cow in the garage in the old meat locker. Like whatever, you know what I mean? You got to chop the thing's leg off. Jay Carr says, Chipotle and Jersey Mike's is all I eat. Dude, the Chipotle thing too. Here's number one. I don't appreciate the inconsistency at the local Chipotle. I really don't appreciate it, man. Like when they're making this stuff right in front of you, you notice everything. Some of these people are generous with what they're giving you. Other people are like, they're cheaping out on you. They don't want to give you a big scoop. I don't like the inconsistency with which the Chipotle workers operate when they're divvying out my stuff. Here's the other thing, man. Chipotle is another one where every time I go, the same meal I get costs $2 or $3 more. Every time I go there, it costs $3 more. I'm not getting anything different. It's telling you, man, there's a limit to this stuff. Don't get me started on Five Guys. You need the salary of Five Guys to be able to get a burger and a sack of fries and a joint. Five Guys. Yeah, I need 5 guys to work full-time jobs to get your family a stupid burger. Unbelievable. WPP, we should settle our differences on the golf course. Now that is a content idea. That's a content idea. Record that battle. Record that battle. Okay, I need to get to some of these chats from earlier in the day. Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. Busy day of work. A good 25 is definitely making the playoffs and at least 2 wins. I think that's going to be the bar from here on out. So I think that is like a reasonable middle ground there with Nick. Making the playoff, having some success in it, but not going all the way to the extent to say, if you don't win 6 playoff games in 2 years, it's a failure. That is, I think, a reasonable middle ground spot. SPF, the resident LSU Tiger. With all the moving pieces at ND plus schedule, I say 9-3 with a ceiling of 10-2. Man, that's a huge difference because I believe a 10-2 Notre Dame's in the playoff, not getting a home game, but in the tournament at 10-2 with this schedule. 9-3, I think they're out. And so that line of 9-3, 10-2 is a huge dividing line in my mind. And then you look at the way this schedule starts. And it is, man, you need a split or better in those first 2 games. And I don't want you to lose either one. But that is the danger zone with all these moving pieces everybody's talking about with those first 2 ball games. K-Mac, answer to the question. A top 10 recruiting class, make the playoff. There you go. I like that you added recruiting into this dynamic as well. Mikey Poles. Standard for 25 is make the playoffs. Goal is always to win the championship, but that isn't the expectation, at least not yet. Give ourselves a chance by making the playoff is the pass-fail. And again, I just feel like if it's one of the younger quarterbacks, people are going to have more flexibility for what they're seeing and how it makes them feel and what it looks like in their minds. The bar's making the playoffs just like it should be from here on out. You never know how the bracket will turn out. Nobody had OSU as an 8 seed preseason and try and make a run. It is true. I think that's one thing we're learning is that playoff thing. You just don't know how it's going to go. You don't know the bracket. You don't know who you're going to line up with. You don't know who's in the middle of a heater and who is peaking in the playoff versus who's fading. Anything can happen once you're in that playoff and you look at all those matchups. So that's Really, really quite interesting. Let's have a decathlon. Jerry says, I can't believe you said Arby's food isn't that good. Have you tried the Reuben? Dude, I haven't been to Arby's in a long time. I'm not willing to pay that price. I just don't think it's good enough. Maybe the Reuben's good. I haven't had it in many, many years. And you know me, I get a Reuben. I don't want none of that goofy sauce on it. I just want meat and bread, baby. Meat and bread's the only, I could live in jail. Give me some saltines and a cup of water, and I could get by. This is also a good point by Mikey here. Expectations can change throughout the season, though. How's the team looking? How's the field looking? How are our injuries? How's the QB play? You're right that that's going to be a moving piece of this as you get a feel for how good or not this team is, but it all starts with those first couple games. Even if you split A&M and Miami, you're in the exact same stressful position you were in last year, where you feel like you have no flexibility and you have a loss after 2 games and you feel all that extra stress to run it out for 10 more. It's tough. That's tough. SPF. I'm talking about ND. Too many moving parts, bro. With the QB with no experience, it's not trolling. You can't expect all the moving parts to remain undefeated or go 11-1. Big question of the year. I think that's a fair concern. I don't think SPF's taking shots at Notre Dame there. I think that's a fair concern. Gronk says, I always think Gronk, but like Gronk. Gronk says CJ Carr will start. Notre Dame most likely goes 10-2. If I had to put my money on the most likely record, I would probably say 10-2 as well with all these moving pieces. I really would. I see a lot of media is pushing for Carr to start the season off for ND. I think it's the only way to go. Does that mean Angeli will transfer? I don't think Angeli's going anywhere. Isn't he close to getting his degree or whatever? Goolsby doesn't think any of these guys are going to the portal no matter how this goes. He thinks these guys love being in Notre Dame, and he does not think anybody's going to leave no matter how this competition shakes out. Interesting. Who will ND swap out for the USC game next year? Will it be another SEC opponent? One thing at a time. Let's see if this ends up happening, that the Big Ten and USC collude to knock Notre Dame off the schedule. That's a very fair question, though, SPF, because you can't lose your biggest historical 100-year rival against a historical good program and then replace it with like Central Michigan or something. Like I that is a big knock off Notre Dame's schedule in perpetuity if it happens. Tex ND. I think both Angeli and Minchie transfer if Carr's QB1. Buckner ends up QB2. No one knows what's going on with these families and these kids and in their mind and in their heart. Everything Goolsby and I have heard from anybody we've talked to says all of these kids love being in Notre Dame and they don't expect them to transfer. I don't know whether that's true or not. Nobody knows what's really going on. But every time this comes up, everybody's like, dude, all these people love Notre Dame. They don't want to leave. I guess that's a compliment, right? What did somebody say? John could survive on Vietnam rations? By the way, really interesting YouTube niche. There's all these YouTube channels that literally find the ration packets from the American soldiers from all the different generations of war, and then they open them and try and eat them now. Don't ask me how I found it, but it is the most interesting thing to see those ration packets from the Vietnam era, World War II era, and the different food, and they throw in some cancer sticks, and then you get your crackers, you know, and your little soup mix, and then you get yourself a pack of Camels when you're going in the Vietnam jungle. It's interesting. Brandon, I have a suite for the Arkansas game. Who else is coming to SEC country? I mean, geez, if you're going to wine and dine me, I might have to go. Will this be the last spring game? I don't know. That's the trend. I have a hard time seeing Notre Dame give up that tradition. I'll be pissed off. I need something to do. That's a great free tailgate for everybody. I don't want to lose that. Tom, whoever wins QB job will have to utilize Malachi Fields. He could be a game changer, especially on third downs. Michael Goolsby is on board. He really likes what he's seeing out of that guy. And the reason I like that take coming from Mike is recently he has been really down on Notre Dame's wide receiver situation, more so than anybody else in the mainstream Notre Dame media niche. Before the year, when everybody hypes up the wide receiver room or whatever, Mike has been the one taking shots for saying, I don't think they're going to be that good. I just don't see it. So him starting to change on this, I don't know. That registers to me. It registers to me. Tex ND, I'd have a bit more leeway for Carr. Yeah, the young guy, you're going to have more flexibility. Week 1 is already a storyline. Back to the Hurricanes. ND facing a healthy back. The ND Miami history. It's all leading to a clash in Florida. Yep. And isn't that the Sunday game? Did they announce that? Is that the Sunday or is it the Monday game actually on the holiday? What is that? Labor Day or whatever? Again, here you are. You're Notre Dame football and you're going to be center stage with everybody looking to see what you're doing. Man, it's going to be interesting. SPF. Mickens earned the title best recruiter in the nation. The clock's ticking on this guy. I really think Mickens should have been offered the DC position over Ash. The argument there, SPF, would be, do you want to be early on a guy or late on a guy? Because if you're late on a guy, you may never get the opportunity again if he leaves your building. If you're early on a guy, there may be a learning curve for him, but then if you get him as DC in his prime at your place, just like the quarterback thing, are you willing to go through a learning curve? Like, I get it. I see people talking about Laurinaitis, the WWE Ohio State connection there with Laurinaitis. He's in some trouble. That guy, Johnny Ace over there at WWE, he's in some trouble. And I'm not getting into it, but it isn't hard to find if you Google it. Him and Vince McMahon they have some legal issues with the ladies going on. Let's just say that. Outbound. Talking to people around the program, and Jelly's going to go into spring as number 1, and it's his job to lose. Well, I need one of them younger guys to push him then. He is the most physically limited guy in the room. It would be annoying to me if one of these younger guys is not ready to compete. And I don't know how to say that without sounding disrespectful to Steve. I don't want to be disrespectful to Steve. Brought the team down the field against Penn State, got us on the board in that pressure moment. I respect the guy. Notre Dame, homegrown, loyal kid, great guy. I love all that. I just happen to think he's the most physically limited of all these guys. So I don't know where that leaves you. More experience, but less physical gifts. So I don't know. Pat says, I disagree with the idea that if Angeli's a guy, it's a red flag. My point's always been we don't see him in practice. He hasn't been asked to run, so we should just trust coaching staff. That's fine. But, I'm still going to talk about it, and I'm still going to worry about it. And you know what else, too? I'm talking about all this stress of how you're going to manage the quarterback dynamic and how you're going to do all that and figure it all out. You know who's not going to stress out about that? Mike Denbrock. That's the other thing. You got Mike Denbrock's been there, done that. He's seen good quarterback play, bad quarterback play, Heisman level quarterback play. He ain't going to worry about it. So I'll worry about it, but Mikey Denbrock isn't worried. He's seen it all. Outbound. So funny how all these people are QB evaluators and coaches, but yet they aren't a great QB coach or scout or evaluator. Trust the coaches. They know what they see, and they'll be working with them. Yeah, I ultimately, sure, Mike Denbrock's not going to be overwhelmed by the situation. I can promise you that. If ND drops 1 or 2 games with Angeli or Carr, they may go to Minchie because he is the closest to Leonard with the legs in a panic. That's another question. Is, What is the hook going to be if you go with one of these guys and it doesn't necessarily go great or it trends the wrong way? What if you are sold on a quarterback and you're like, this is our guy, and you're 3 weeks in and you're 0-2? Then what? Like, I have an obligation here in the offseason purgatory to ask some scary questions, people. What happens if you find your guy, you say this is your guy, and it doesn't go well, and what is the hook? Goolsby was talking about this the other night. It's a lot easier to hook Angeli as the older guy and give a younger guy a chance than it is to go with the younger guy, and after a few weeks, you give him the hook. That's not showing that you're willing to go down the investment road of working with the younger quarterback. So what does that hook look like if it doesn't go well? Scary to think about. Well, it's the big slow. I'll never forget when The Rock said that. From the moment your crappy music hits, well, it's the big slow. Oh, The Rock's creativity on the mic. What an inspiration. What an inspiration. If you smell, I hope Chris Ash doesn't flop like BVG. It was unfortunate. BVG. And you know what's the other one? Who was it? The other one that was a huge flop. Wasn't it John Tenuta? Remember John when they hired John Tenuta? And I heard that all they were going to do is blitz. I remember telling my dad, we got this defensive coordinator, and the word on the street is heat. They're going to bring heat. They're going to be blitzing. They're going to be hitting from every different angle, whatever. It was some of the worst defense I've ever seen in my entire existence. Unbelievable. BVG. The only DC and ND to shut out Michigan. You got the fist pump to last a lifetime by Uncle Rico, and it was downhill from there, bro. It was downhill from there. Like, I'm sorry, man. You got the one fist pump moment, and it was just Uncle Rico, man. I forgot about Corwin Brown, too. Jeez, Corwin Brown, you should have known that was going to go bad. Michigan guy. By the way, funny tidbit. Corwin Brown, our former DC, I forget if it was the first or the second rocket touchdown return at the Big House in '89 in the rain on that crappy fake turf they had. And the last guy down the sideline that dove and could not tackle the rocket was none other than Corwin Brown. The rocket outran him. That's what the rocket does. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the show. We're going to wrap it up. I got a call to get on at 10:30. Give me a couple minutes to gather my thoughts. Talking some business. And then here's what I think we're going to do. When we get into spring ball, I think we'll bring back the Saturday night shows. I think that's what we'll do. We'll get those going again when we get back into spring ball. The first one I may be in Florida for, and we'll do some shows from the patio. You all know the backdrop. I'll be yelling and make the golfers all hate me or whatever. But when we get into spring ball, we'll start bringing the Saturday night live streams back. So that should be interesting. I needed a little break to recharge and everything, and I've been sick for like 3 weeks now. So whatever. I needed a little break, but we'll get those cranked back up. And we'll get at it. And we get a whole different crew when we get people in here on a Saturday night. You never know what you're going to get. You never know who you're going to get. And it should be fun. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Appreciate the calls. Appreciate the chat. Appreciate the donations. Really appreciate it. A lot of energy on the show today. And we will be back the 18th, I believe, Kent. March 18th it starts. Go live in Florida. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. All I need is an internet connection. I don't need to be in Illinois. The only negative would be not being able to get to Notre Dame easily. But all I need is the internet, and I can work from Florida. It doesn't matter to me. All right, you guys. Thanks for being here. Good show. Good energy. We'll see you.